Hi, everybody. It's Memorial Day. I'm not going to say Happy Memorial Day. I just
No.
don't get that. You don't say Happy Memorial Day. It's in honor of others. And I have here with me Mel.
Hi, everybody.
Sure.
Shirt Psychic.
It's our Monday morning event. Are you planning anything today?
Gary and I are gonna go with my cousin Lisa, and she's gonna cook. And yesterday we took a ride up to Richmond, Illinois. It's this little town, and there's this wonderful Italian restaurant there called Paisanos. And so we walked around and we had Italian food. And then the night before, I was with Rosaire and Jim and Larry, our friends Larry and Don, Gary and I, and we went to my favorite restaurant in the whole wide world, Mykonos. So we have great food. So, I didn't feel like cooking. For everybody I haven't been present much on YouTube because I've got something going on with my throat. So
Yeah, didn't want to say anything without your permission.
that's fine. You can say it. I don't care.
Okay, so he's got this weird ulcer looking, but it's black, which scares me. But apparently, if you look at pictures of cancer of the throat, it's not black.
Right. Well, the black is gone. It's just now got just a little ulceration on it. So
yeah,
let's see what happens.
He's
So
having to live like this until he sees an ENT specialist, which isn't till when? This next week?
June the 29th, but I'm going to try to get it sooner.
I wouldn't worry about it.
I'm going to Africa no matter what.
Right. And he had, the doctor had ordered antibiotics, which you were taking up at Sedona. And the ulcer actually shrunk. So cancer doesn't do that.
Right. Just scared me because one doctor looked at it and said, this looks like cancer. You need to have a biopsy. But everybody else said they don't know.
She said she's an alarmist. So
correct. So that's what scared me.
I mean, I would tell you if I thought it was cancer. I hate to say it, but sometimes I can be brutally honest.
I'd rather know. I'll twirl about it, but I just, I processed so I was supposed to do, some anniversary shows and things like that, but I called everybody and just said, I just needed time to process. So.
Right. I just posted a picture on Facebook of being at the gravesite of a distant relative, Robert L. Durham, who died in Normandy, August 4th. He was giving them the Purple Heart, probably post, what do they call it? Post-death.
Post.
It starts with an H.
Posthumously.
Or P, yeah, posthumously. So anyway.
It's in there.
But I was just telling him, Patty McLean, the psychic reader that, to me, no offense, the first time she read me, I was 30 some odd years old. My daughter was giving me hell. I wanted to have a tubal, but the doctors wouldn't do it because I was too young. I was unmarried. And she said, I see 2 more husbands. I see 2 children. They look like boys. It could be twins, but either that or they're very close together. And she said, I see you being famous. I see you standing before a crowd, talking to people, almost like a teacher. And I'm thinking, this woman doesn't know what she's talking about.
This woman's
does not know what she's talking about.
This woman's been hitting the wacky tobacco.
The minute she said I was going to have 2 sons, I mean, no way, Jose. And everything she said came true. But one thing she said to me, you had a bad past life in France. Whatever you do, try not to go there.
Try not to do what?
Go to France.
Wow.
And my sister really wanted to go. And she had this great thing that we're going to all see these great sights. And the minute I stepped off that plane, I was sick the whole 2 weeks. And I mean sick. I was able to get up and go to things, but I never felt good. So that was so interesting. But up until she died, she had leukemia. She was 70 something. She said, when are you going to be famous? Because I just keep seeing it. And I thought, yeah, that's the one thing you got wrong, But I mean, I'm not really famous. No, I mean, I don't walk down the street. People recognize me. But I'll tell you what, that cancer, she didn't tell me I was going to get cancer, but it changed my life and my world. So.
Well, open heart surgery kind of changed mine too. So, but
So listen, on my last live, I said those readers, those of you who are readers, let me know, because I don't read anymore. And well, I read, but not for money. Anyway, so I know you're fantastic, Jen Lynn, Susan Lynn. I don't think Kim and Debbie do. Maybe I'll have to ask Debbie. You should see all the list of people that wrote me. All kinds of people. So there's a lot of readers out there. So what I'll do is list.
Well, thanks for the referrals, Linda.
Oh, yes. Well, the thing is, I'd like to have readings with the ones who are asking me, because I hate to put names out when I don't know. So I'll just make it clear that I have not had a reading, and maybe even make my people the ones who check it out. They can go to these other people and say, hey, listen, I had a reading with so-and-so. And it's good. I've had good comments about you, Sterling, and Susan Lynn and Jen Lynn. So the regular people, yes, but a lot of them I'll be adding. I was on yesterday with a guy called Scorpio Sun Tarot. Really nice guy.
I have to write it down. Scorpio Sun Tarot.
Sun Tarot. Apparently he's on with Kevin Lewis all the time.
I have to write it down. Okay. Yeah, I'll help you out. I mean, if people, if they want to read me, they can contact me. I'll listen.
Yeah. And then you recommend them on your channel.
But thank you for the referrals.
Oh, sure. And thank you guys for being being a subscriber on my YouTube.
Yeah, me too.
I really didn't care about that at all, but it's kind of nice because it kind of gives you that feeling like maybe you're doing something right.
Well, when I get to 20,000 subscribers, I think I'll give away 3 free Aloha shirts to the members.
Right.
And give away, a bunch of readings and have a party and all that stuff.
Yeah. I think I had a big deal with 50, but now I'm at 60,800. So
yeah, you got it. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't, and it amazes me because so many good readers out there. But I've been on board for a while. I've been on board for quite some time.
I think I've been 3 years now. Yeah.
Did you watch me before you became a YouTube person?
Here's what happened. My friend, because I never watched YouTube that much.
Yeah, and this guy I read said you have to meet Mel Dorr. You have to meet Mel Dorr.
That's my friend Gunnar Goebel, and he kept telling you. So I watched you, and he said, "Did you watch Linda? Did you watch Linda?" And he said, and I said, "No, but I will." So then I watched, and he says, "I told her about you, and I think you were emailing me." And Gunnar said, "You're not answering our emails." I said, "I don't."
Because he kept telling me too, and I told you, and I didn't hear back from you, and I'm like, well, screw him. Whatever, dude.
And then I called you, and then I'll never forget this.
What?
I was like, "Can we do FaceTime?" You go, "No, I got my hair in curlers," and I said, "Hair."
I'm like, oh, hell to the no. Hell to the no.
Do you like Donald Trump? I said, "You mean the Cheeto head?"
And then I knew you were going to be my new best friend.
Anyway, thank you, Linda. You've been so good to everybody in the community.
Oh, thank you. Well, it's not just me. Everybody is good. And boy, what a good time we had at Sedona with Susan Lynn and Joy. And
when I started my YouTube channel, I had
Debbie. Huh?
Yeah, we had a great time. When I started my YouTube channel, I had like 200 subscribers. I never did anything with it. And then once I went on your show, it just skyrocketed.
It skyrocketed. We had a good time. Yeah. That's like with Sterling too.
Yeah.
Sterling is, a lot of people like Sterling because he's boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
And I got to tell you, Sterling is the salt of the earth, just the best besides you. But as far as a friend, you know what I mean? He's somebody I would totally trust, just like with you. There's not too many people that I would feel even comfortable saying to them, help. But him and his wife, Linda, I could talk to them anytime. You and Daniel, of course, my sister, me and my sister are very close.
Well, my cousin, I said I bought this cup from my shop, but because I've been twirling, it means to worry about this thing. She bought me this cup and I got to show it.
Oh, yes. Isn't that the truth? I need that too. I need that too. I'll Google it. I'll probably find it.
So I'm drinking ginger ale from my BS crazy.
So, you guys, let's get down to business because they sent, thank you for the questions. Thank you, you guys. Danelle says, I've been using audio frequencies on YouTube for healing with great results. I'll have to try that. I first heard about this from Edgar Casey readings. Will modern medicine ever utilize this method in treating people?
What is it? What is she using?
She's using frequencies, audio frequencies.
Well, they kind of do when they do ultrasounds, because ultrasound is, in fact, sound.
Right, but they don't use it to heal you.
No, they use
Ultrasound they use to see what you got growing inside of you.
But I think they're experimenting with sound waves to use in military as weapons that can make people sick. So I'm sure if certain sound waves, I don't know if it's the frequency of the sound wave, but if it can make people sick, it can certainly at some point be utilized to probably help treat them or cure some things. I absolutely see that coming about.
Let me look real quick. Yeah, more so the military is using it, which is weird.
They're using it as weapons.
The military found out some stuff about it. I'm going to look this up. I'm writing it down. Sorry.
Oh, that's all right. It's interesting.
Very interesting.
A lot of those people that got sick in Cuba and somewhere else, they thought it might have been due to sound. It's sound we can't hear.
But then they came back and said no. So, but you can't believe.
But there's certain machines that generate these sounds that we can't hear. I don't know at the frequency again, but if you stand behind like something that absorbs sound, it doesn't make you sick. But if you step out from behind it, you really get sick. You get a headache. You feel like you're going to pass out. It can do a lot of damage. So
apparently Sterling thinks even those orcas that are attacking boats in Portugal got something to do with frequencies.
Could be. I think they should attack some politicians that we know.
So Artist wants to know, will there ever be a time where we can breathe again and not worry so much about our country and democracy being destroyed by the Republicans?
Well, my guides are telling me that we still have to be diligent.
Yes.
And I think for so many years, people just took things for granted and the voter apathy and people didn't vote and they just said things will be taken care of. And I think it's our way of saying that we all need to be responsible and speak up and get out and vote. And, when we see these sorts of injustices, we got to do something about it. And that goes the same for other countries, because otherwise, look what's happening.
Yeah.
Our democracy is going to be very precarious for a while, my guides tell me. But ultimately, I see democracy winning out. Absolutely. It's just going to be a battle.
Well, my guides are telling me we never asked you not to breathe. We asked you to remain calm and stand in the realm and know this too shall pass. By awakening, by being awakened, or as Satan likes to call it, woke, by being awake, we can get through this by knowing that we're covered. Have faith and know that this too shall pass. It's really ugly what's going on in this world. I mean, I think about all those men that died, men and women and civilians and Jews that died in World War II. And if they were to come back to the earth from that earth form, they're now probably even had 2 past lives by now. But if they were to come back and see what this country is doing, how sad that is.
It would be very sad. So I think, when she says, will we be able to breathe again? I agree. I think we need to breathe.
Yeah.
And we need to breathe out freedom. And we need to breathe out our voices and let our voices be heard.
Well, remember about fear.
Correct. Yes.
The fear factor is like the demon working on you. Not that I go that way, but fear will create more madness. You got to come out of the fear, because what you fear can happen sometimes.
Fear is a demon. And it's funny, I was telling people in Sedona in my seminars to step out of the fear. And now I realize I was speaking to them. But sometimes we give a message, we're also speaking to ourselves.
Yeah.
And I went through this worry and the this and the that. And then when you sent me the text yesterday, it's okay, offer this up and step out of the fear. Am I nervous? Am I a little afraid? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I was petrified.
but I'm going to let it.
And then I handed it over.
Exactly. I'm going to let it get behind me and push me forward.
And my guide so hastily said to me, "What are you doing? You know there's no such thing as death." Because I was begging for my life. And then I said, "You know what?" I got embarrassed. I said, "You're right." And I handed it over. I said, "Into thy hands I commend my spirit." And then stood in such a faith that it didn't matter if I lived or died. All that matters is being connected in this realm at this time, because there is paradise on earth. When you can really be free of all those human things, you're walking in spirit.
I was like, whatever this is, I'm going to fight it. And so,
yeah, we still are human.
Correct. We're still
and,
human.
And you have to mourn, and there's certain things you need to do.
That's correct.
But
it's just about letting the fear push you forward. And I think it's the same with our country. Who was it that said we have nothing to fear but fear itself?
It was FDR.
So I think, we need to breathe, but we need to breathe out so our voices can be heard and stand up and say, we will not tolerate this bigotry, this fascism, this taking away our freedom.
Oh God, even
our voice.
The Orange Fresh Head wrote today on his thing about Memorial Day and how we need to fight this evil and going on, and these backdoor people that are getting ready to take our country over and be fascist. Just nothing but lies and nothing but fear.
Correct.
So, but this is a man who's a fascist.
This is a man who's a sociopath.
Yes, he would love to see. When he asked people to rally for him, remember this, you guys, this is one thing that I knew for sure. My guys were right. When he was asking for people to fight because something had happened, he got subpoenaed for some. Anyway, this is back last year, I think. And he really wanted people to go to the streets. And remember, it was only like 5 or 6 people at Mar-a-Lago.
That's right.
And they wouldn't even let them use the bathroom.
Correct.
And when he came out of his New York place and he looks for rally, like for people to be up in arms and shooting people in the streets. He would love that.
And there was nobody there.
Nobody. That gave me faith in that, and more so because he's asking his people like he did with January 6th, but those people learned a lesson. He doesn't have your back.
No, he doesn't have their back.
He doesn't care.
He threw him under a bus. Hey, Lucky, she is so needy today. She's still here looking at me with her toy. She wants me to pet her.
Oh.
Okay, girl. You're a good girl. You're a good girl.
It helps when they get older and they just want to lay around all the time, like their mama.
Yeah, right, like me.
Kathy asks, her question is, when do we see Russian people removing Putin? The problem is the when, because time frames are very difficult. I've always seen Putin running to get away. What do you pick up?
I see the number 1.5, but it could be like, it could be middle part of January. It could be a year and a half, but I do see Putin gone. But now Lukashenko in Belarus is saying, oh, everybody should have nuclear weapons. And did you hear this one?
What?
Oh, this is amazing that Russia issued an arrest warrant for Lindsey Graham over Ukraine because of Lindsey Graham's comments.
Yeah, it's one of his people in Russia, a female. She said he needs to be killed. Wow. She literally said that.
Wow.
She posted it. And, poor Lindsey, he doesn't know if he's coming or going.
Well, I think it's kind of karmic that the Russians issued a warrant for him. But, I just saw that and I was like, whoa. But I do see Putin gone. I see the number.
I do see him going down. His cards are terrible. I do. By the way, you guys, Andre and I will do a show on Thursday and we'll see what the planets are saying. But remember, Andre kept seeing anywhere, I think from April or May on between Trump and Putin, bad cards. Matt Gaetz has bad signs too.
I don't think I think Lukashenko does also in Belarus.
Okay, but I felt, is that the guy? No, the guy in Turkey that just won. The guy in Turkey that just won the voting. They
I don't-
redid the vote because it was so close.
And was the guy more Trumpian or more?
No, he's a dictator.
Oh, he's a
And
dictator.
my guy said to me, he won by cheating. And I saw these boxes of ballots. And so, which is how that, because since he's in office, he can manage that.
Is he?
And he's the one that's preventing people from coming into NATO.
Oh,
He's the jerk. So anyway, but I saw people walking the streets and going cray cray. So maybe 2 years he'll be in there. That's what I saw.
There's going to be in Belarus, I kept saying this, people protesting in the streets almost near a civil war. And I see the same thing happening in Turkey, where people, you're right, where people are going to be protesting. And when you said you saw that Turkish president for 2 years, I got cold chills. So,
okay. Oh, and I got to tell you something else. I was doing a live yesterday. And I had over 5,000. I was doing a live yesterday and somebody said something to me, and tell me if because I said, I'm going to be a Mel and my light goes off. She said, do you think President Biden behind closed doors made a little deal with McCarthy? Get off this train of trying to close the United States down. I'll tell you what, and maybe even McCarthy says, dude, if I don't do this, I'm going to get voted. I'm going to get sent walking. This is okay. Listen to this. She said, do you think that President Biden said he would talk to his Congress, to the Democrats, and vote to keep him in if they try to vote to keep him out? And something went bing.
ooh, I just got cold chills with that.
Thank you.
Light bulb went on too.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Oh, it'll piss them off when the Democrats keep McCarthy in. But because he did this, because really it was a nothing burger. This whole thing has been a nothing burger to begin with. But because
Correct.
Trump gave the thing saying, you're going to close the United States of America down, and McCarthy acted like he got a deal, which he didn't. It's a nothing burger. And I see them all coming back furious at him, maybe even putting up to remove him. And then out of the blue, I see the Democrats raising to keep him in.
You know what? My psychic light bulb went off on that, and I'm hearing you're absolutely right. I'm hearing a yes.
Because that's sort of a thank you for working with us. And guess what? We'll keep you in because you're willing to work with us.
But I think behind the scenes, he probably said you have to curb the Marjorie Taylor Greens as well.
Yeah, she's crazy. Oh God, when she said, "We will show decorum in the House," and everybody busted out laughing.
Oh my God, that was like when you told me that made my day. I was
And
having
they
the
were
worst
laughing
day
so
that
hard.
day.
She had that big thing. Boom, quiet, order. And they were busted. This is a woman who screamed at both
Why? She screamed
President Obama and President
Biden.
But they didn't disrespect Trump.
Well, guess what? I was having the worst day when you sent me that, and I looked at that and I was like, oh, I needed that today.
Yes, it was hysterical. It was like she
funny.
crapped her pants and didn't realize everybody could smell it.
It's like passing gas in a crowded elevator and everybody knows you did it.
Did you ever play games in elevators when you get in?
Oh yeah.
I've turned to whoever I'm with and say, hey, how's that sore? Is it contagious? Did the doctor finally tell you? And whoever I'm with usually goes with it.
I'm the one that goes like, I'll get on the elevator, there's crowded and people like this. I'll go, do you ever notice there's nothing to do on an elevator except look at those numbers? Or I've done that before, cough. And I'll go, oh God, I hope this isn't strep again.
There you go.
People they freak.
Yeah. So Christian Martinez said,
Christian.
hi, Mel and Linda. Hope you're doing well. Thank you, Christian. And by the way, you guys, this is being taped, but if you have a moment, if you could just say a quick prayer for Mel, that he's going to get good news on his throat. I don't feel bad. I don't feel bad at all. Yeah. Okay, so Christian said, Will President Biden lower interest rate on student loan and home mortgage? People, well, he meant to say can't. He said people can't afford to pay. Let me tell you something, Christian. 5% is nothing in mortgage. I come from the days, my first house in 1975 was like, and it was military too. My ex-husband,
18%.
it was 17, I remember. It and I've gone as high as, it's gone as low as 8%, but that 5% is nothing. But people are the problem is the houses themselves are high. It's costs a lot of money, $500,000 starting.
When I bought this townhouse back in 1990, no, 1992 or 93, my interest rate was 10%.
Okay.
And so, you know, I think they raised the rates to slow the housing market because it was getting way over speculated. I mean, people were closing at above market value. They were like closing without inspections, and they were selling the paper again for profit. Like they would close, not even take possession.
What year did you buy that place?
I bought my place in 1992.
Okay.
But I'm talking about now, the reason they raised the rate, because
Right.
people were doing the same thing that they were doing right before the crash in 2008. And I saw
Yeah, but there was protections now that they can't do that, speculate anymore.
well, people were starting to like I said, pay above appraised values for properties,
Right.
close without inspections, sell the paper under the table. So I think the Fed saw that crash coming and they raised the interest rates to slow the market and hopefully bring prices down, which it is doing. It slowed the market. It stopped the market from crashing is what it did.
Right.
And so I think it might go up one or two more times, but then I see it coming down again. I don't know if it'll ever get to 2%, but what
3%, 3.54 is what I paid for this house.
But I intuit it stabilizing right around 5%.
You know, I
Not now, but
when I bought my first house in 1976, it's funny how certain things stick with you. It was 33.5, and it was a VA loan. And that next year, we sold that house and got a bigger house for 70 something thousand. This house was 33.5, but the house sold double.
Right.
It
Right.
doubled in 1 year.
Right. Because there was a shortage of housing back then.
Yeah.
And the supply and demand. So if you have a lot of demand and not enough supply, prices go up.
Yeah.
So,
And what a lot of people like my father, military, California, Cal Vet loans. A lot of people bought houses back in the 50s for, I think my parents paid 12,000 for their house. But everybody owned a house. That's how it was. Everybody owned a house. But my parents stayed in the same house for 60 years.
Well, because it was after World War II in the 50s.
And it showed.
I think my parents built their first house. And
Okay.
then they bought a house for $16,500 back in 19.
Was it a nice house?
It was 1959.
Wow.
I mean, it had plumbing. It was a nice house. They had it built. My grandmother still didn't have plumbing, and my father's sisters didn't have plumbing. They lived way out in the country. But at least, and I go stay with grandma, and it was like go out.
Well, that's where you make your money. I have a friend that lives in a very prestigious area, but she bought her place many years ago, and she stayed in it. And the value has gone through the roof. But if you can stay, because I have my bank begging me, take a loan out against you, because I have like a huge amount of equity, because I did put a lot of money down. And it's 5 point something, and you got to pay all these fees. I said, hell no, I'm going to stay right where I'm at.
Right. I see the interest rate stabilizing right around 4 or 5% at some point. I don't think it'll,
I see the student loans too going good.
Student loans, I see him bringing interest rates down on them. I think if people do something like for the good of the community, like work in healthcare, teaching, things like that, then a lot of those loans can be forgiven.
Okay, good. Hazel wants to know, will the government ever raise the SSI income for poor elders?
The
I
answer,
see loads of them doing without medicine and food, but of course the Satan doesn't care about the elders.
the answer to that is yes, I do see that money coming up.
Okay, yeah, it feels like they're putting out something to really help. It might even be that that they don't have to pay for their medicine, something like that. And they make sure people are fed.
And or put a ceiling on it that you don't have, if you're in a certain income bracket, that you can't go over a certain amount to pay for medication.
Right, right. Some of these are repeat questions we've answered before, but Elaine wants to know, will Georgia indictments come for Congress and senators too? And we've absolutely said yes on that.
Yes, the answer is
I can't tell you who. Sweetie darling Lulu said, is the student loan forgiveness doomed under the debt ceiling agreement? Student loan wasn't even mentioned in the debt ceiling. It's, yeah.
Well, my guides told me that if they didn't reach an agreement, that that what would happen is Biden would use the 14th Amendment. And he let McCarthy know that. My psychic light bulb just went off. He told McCarthy in no uncertain terms.
Okay.
I mean, Biden had some stuff that he could play hardball behind the scenes. It looked like that Biden might have caved in on a few things, but Biden is a politician and he knows what he's
He's
doing.
a good politician too.
He's a phenomenal politician. And he knows what
And he's got good people around him who were also negotiating.
who are honest.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't feel sneaky. I feel like they were like, okay, here's the deal.
Well, he had some stuff.
Almost like he called their bluff. Okay,
Yeah.
well, I'll let you go ahead and shut it down and blame me and see what happens.
I don't think it was conniving. I think it was just, or sneaky. I just think he had some stuff and it's like, look, here's.
Well, he also had some facts. That's what I'm getting.
Exactly my point.
He told them this is exactly what happens if you shut this government down.
And he probably told him it's a good way. You know what? It's it's a good way for you to lose an election.
Oh yeah, they definitely. One of the reasons I thought, oh, it would be good for this to happen. I know that's terrible, but it just would cost too much heartache for everybody. Was the fact that it would ruin the Republicans.
Oh yeah. Well, it's still
Some
not.
person wrote, he waited 90 something days for Biden to present, a budget. And it's like, dude, he gave a budget March something. He said he just wanted to cut the payments we make towards these oil and gas companies because their CEOs are taking in millions. And yet we're paying them subsidies. No.
Right.
Notice how they didn't mention touching rich people at all.
They didn't. Nope.
But let's get the poor and let's take away women's rights and then let's make it hard for them to feed the children.
And I think what's happening is a lot of the work, everybody's getting wealthy on the backs of the working class. And so at some point I see tax cuts and a lot of them and tax breaks coming for the working class.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be pro working class within the next. I don't even see Biden in office, and I see a lot of, the Gen Z coming in, the young, and making sure that, everyone's taken care of.
It's going to be totally working class with the.
I have to read this one because she mentioned Lawton, and that's where my mother was born and raised. That's where the Comanche tribe is located.
Comanches.
Love you both. When I was a child, this is Ms. When I was a child, we lived in Lawton, Oklahoma, and I remember one night my parents being out and my older sister was on the porch picking up pebbles to play jacks. I held the door open. It was dark out, but I don't remember what time. I looked up and saw what I remember as lights and the bottom of a chrome-looking round ship. After that, I only remember looking out the back window of the house. I don't recall how I got there. I don't recall anything but seeing the lights on the spaceship going up and leaving. I don't remember ever talking to anyone about it. Can you tell me if this was an actual sighting and what may have happened to me?
I see. Absolutely. Yes, it was a sighting.
I know it was. Yeah.
I don't know if she was abducted, but I clearly see that it was a sighting. Absolutely.
Right. And she did lose some space and time. That's what I'm feeling.
Well, I think sometimes, I don't know, I'm not much of a scientist, but maybe sometimes when we see the ETs, and I don't know if it could distort space-time continuum, or if it just could be like maybe the energy, some sort of energy, could be sound energy, could be some sort of energy they use for their craft that would just create some amnesia in humans.
Right.
I
Well,
don't
my
think.
mom was little, they had to use an outhouse in their house in Lawton. And my mom was scared to death to go out there at night. And that she was told she had to go use the outhouse so she didn't wet the bed. She was young, like 4 or 5. And one night she was heading towards the outhouse and she saw this mist coming in from the fields, just slowly moving, just one dark mist. And she scared the bejesus out of her. She ran in the house without peeing outside. And she got up on the kitchen sink and looked out the window, and you could see it. It actually was by the outhouse, and it started to form like in a very tall man. And
Wow.
she never forgot that. And it scared. And by the way, she went to bed that night.
I would have too.
She got in trouble, but oh my gosh. I've heard a lot of good stories out there in Lawton.
They used to have chamber pots for us, so you get up in the middle of the night, you pee in the pot and take it out in the morning and empty it.
I wonder if they had one. That's interesting. With all those kids, her mom had 7 kids. Why she wouldn't have had chamber pots?
Sometimes, well, you know what, people were poor, and you know, who could this, I mean, sometimes you couldn't afford a lot, but and
Initially, apparently, my grandmother, Cecilia, she was raised with her Comanche family, and they had gotten that allotment number money from the tribe. And they used to have even maids in service and stuff. They lived pretty well. And then the white man came in and tried to take everything away from them. And then they got poor.
there you go.
But initially they had money.
Yeah, outhouses can be interesting places. It's just hold your nose because the smells. I'll
Right.
never smell. It's like, oh God.
Oh, this is interesting. Julia wants to know, what is the Ivana divorce papers that Trump is afraid to be revealed?
I didn't hear anything about it.
Me neither. I think someone said that her divorce papers said she would be able to talk about Trump after so many years, and that's when she died.
Oh, I got it. Yeah. I have to look into that. Here's a good one. Lisa Sanders. Wow. Hi, Mel and Linda. What will the outcome of the new child labor laws in the southern states?
Oh,
Are they legal? Because the federal laws that are in place state no children under 18 can serve alcohol.
believe it or not, and except for Thomas, he'll probably vote yes on it. But I see it, Congress, SCOTUS saying no.
I see SCOTUS saying no as well.
Yeah.
You know, I see my guys are showing me people en masse moving out of Florida.
And they're already moving. Did you see he shut down any classes about wokeism, so to speak? You can't talk about slavery, you can't talk about LGBTQ, you can't talk about anything.
It's terrible. You know, I wouldn't want to live in a state where they're paving the road with nuclear waste. I can't even get over that one. You can't say gay. You can't do this. People are moving out in droves.
And he's against the Jews too.
Of course. Why do you think he passed that law? Why do you think he tried to pass that law, or tried to pass a law in Florida that you can't circumcise infant boys? Because the part of the Jewish religion and part of the Muslim religion is to circumcise
right
their newborn male.
Someone said to me that's child abuse, circumcision. But let me tell you, I've been on surgeries with people who had too many infections and had to get a circumcision when they're older, and it's horrible.
Well, you know, I'm not against it for religious reasons at all.
Yeah.
You know, but the reason that Satan did it is clear. That was clearly anti-Semitic and anti-Muslim. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Without saying it.
Well, the Jewish community is already suing him. They're suing him because they believe in abortion.
Right.
For religious reasons.
I see people leaving in mass, and he's not going to win his battle with Disney. I mean, I don't know what Disney's going to do to try to get tourists to come to Florida, but if they do, it's just going to be to see Disney World and all of that. And, then this thing is going to want more money for all of that. I don't think Disney's going to close. Disney World is too much
It's
money.
too big, and it'll be there way after he's gone.
You know what? Exactly what I was going to say. It was there a long time before he came in. It'll be there a long time after he's gone.
But he's really fighting a losing battle. It's amazing. He's so pompous. He thinks he's right and they're wrong.
Well, my guides are telling me the state of Florida is going to have some huge financial woes, and really, I'm seeing bankruptcy for that state.
I even see that because of what he's done and Disney backing out and not building anymore. I see big troubles with property taxes, and yeah, he's gone cray.
You don't mess with Mickey Mouse. Oh, here's a good one.
What?
GIGA Hellblaze. It says Target is pulling LGBTQ products from their stores due to threats. The LGBT community and groups are outraged by their move. What is the outcome of Target's move on this? Well, I think then that a lot of LGBTQ people and a lot of other people won't be shopping at Target.
Yeah, but I disagree with that. They were creating a lot of chaos, and it wasn't going to be no time at all that an AK was walking into Target because of their hatred. And Target good for Target. They put that stuff with the rainbows and everything. And they didn't realize the backlash they would get because it's ugly and it's awful. And they have to protect the customers that are in there. So I feel they didn't remove it because they don't like LG. They felt threatened and were scared for everyone.
Well, then if that's the case, hire guards.
What do? You say, okay, fair enough then. Let these people come in with their AKs and kill people over these signs.
Well, I agree with that. But the bottom line is, if it's anti-LGBTQ, it's still going to hurt.
It's not anti. They're not anti. It's the others, especially in the red states.
Well, here again, I think it's about keeping our voices. And
right,
saying,
but
we're not going to bow to your threats, and we need gun control laws to ban these assault weapons. That's the problem.
That's the problem. But don't Target. I really feel it's not them removing it because they don't believe in it. They obviously believed it and didn't see any problem. It's like, whoa. It's like a reader online and says something, and then everybody's against that reader. It's like everybody. And Chick-fil-A are anti-gay.
I won't eat there.
And a lot of people don't eat there, but they still make money hand over foot.
I still won't eat there.
Yeah.
And you know what? Regardless of Target's reasoning, until they put LGBTQ stuff back there, I won't shop there. I get to choose where I spend my money. Right.
Where else are you going to shop? Walmart? Me? That's a hick place.
No, I don't shop at Walmart. We have our food stores here, and we have Chicago.
Well, I don't buy food at Target.
No, I would never buy food at Target, but we have other stores we can shop. So, lately I've been shopping at REI because I'm going to Africa.
But if you had a place that you were selling things and you put your beautiful LG signs and all that, and then people were coming in and deliberately destroying and causing chaos in your store, you would still leave it up. Because what'll happen, you're between a rock and a hard place, okay? So I wouldn't go in the store being afraid that people are going to come in and create chaos because those signs are up. I would protect my children and myself. But sometimes it's easier not to deal with it, because this too shall pass.
I would leave the signs up.
Yeah.
And I would make sure that I had security to protect anybody that would come in and misbehave.
Right.
But the bottom line is, we need gun control to ban the assault.
Yeah, you're not going to get that right now, but down the road you will.
Sometimes, but at some point I do see them banned.
Yeah, down the road you'll.
But at some point I see Target putting LGBTQ stuff in there. But here's the problem. You're right about one thing, in my opinion. it used to be they had this stuff out. Yeah, we support LGBTQ community, but now all of a sudden these ultra right-wing MAGA Christian nationalists and a few people, we're going to start trouble in your store. And
Yeah,
now with all these
it's terrible what they're doing.
and so now with all these cray-crays picking up guns and going out
And
shooting.
Target doesn't have what Disney has. Mind you, he tried to do that to Disney too. Not only did they do this, but they had a big party and trans and everything. But they have security. They're sealed off and you can't walk in there with a gun.
Right.
See, Target doesn't have that.
No, I get that. But what I was saying is that, it's got to be where it's a small group of ultra right-wing Christian nationalists, the fascists, all of this, starting trouble. And then the cray-crays think they can go on and shoot a bunch of people because they think it's okay, and it's not. And they started trouble for Target. And they're forcing their beliefs down everybody's throat. And that's what I mean.
Just like with the schools and everything. But
at some point,
I'm not against Target because I almost feel like I sense that it's not malicious or saying you guys don't matter to me. I'm almost feeling that they did it to keep, because you can barely get staff as it is, and nobody's working these places. And it was almost to keep things quiet just for now.
but at some point, my guides tell me Target will start adding more LGBTQ things. I don't know what products they pulled from their shelves. I don't know.
It was just a little rainbow signs.
Oh, okay. Well,
and some shirts.
I'm going to put my rainbow flag out. I'm not going to take it down. And if somebody threatens me, guess what? Bring it on. I'm not taking it down. That's my right, and so I'm a warrior spirit, believe it or not.
Yeah, but sometimes you got to pick your battles.
That's true.
To protect others.
You do
like I don't think anybody would care, but if I was to hang something and people took offense to it, the only reason I would take it down is if I had other people like my children living here and I have to worry about their safety.
That's true.
Because people are crazy, my friend.
But what they're doing is they're like with Target, and and this is the problem, is that they're instilling fear.
Right. Well, they didn't do it to Disney because Disney is set up. Maybe Target needs a wall and guards at the door.
That's what I said.
Yeah.
Target go like this because they're intimidating us through fear. And that's what I mean when I say it's the American apartheid. It's that small group that they're controlling the rest of us through fear.
Yeah.
And what did FDR say? We have nothing to fear but fear itself.
Yeah.
And my guys are telling me people are going to get more vocal. The ones of us that are being controlled by this little ultra right.
I mean, who doesn't have a gay member of their family?
And my guides are telling me people are going to start speaking up. And, I knew that when they were picking on women's rights, abortion rights, then you know what? Then they would start picking on LGBTQ.
Yeah.
Because, let me pose a question. So what if a store had something in there that said, we are pro-choice? All right. And they started getting threats and they took it down. That would piss a lot of people off.
Only if they were being battled, like they were going in there, there was a lot of threats too. But if they were being battled, I wouldn't complain. I can order a I'm pro-choice online shirt. I don't have to go in there to buy that.
It was just an example I was trying
to rarely shop at Target anyway. It's too far for me to go. I shop at Costco.
And it's just the point I'm trying to make is that if they had wanted to put guards in, they still make enough money where they could have done that and had people screening at the doors and things like that.
Make sure that you don't come in with, but like in Texas and Florida, open carry.
Well, but you can put signs up that say there's no guns allowed in this store and it's private. And
but you gotta watch it. You gotta tag it.
Correct. So I know it's a lot of money, but I think that what I see in my life,
power of the vote, you guys, get rid of these people who are anti everything.
My psychic light bulb just went on. And like I said, a lot of people are going to start speaking up
Right.
to the small group that are trying to cram everything else down our throats.
I
They're
think
not.
the Satan is in because can you imagine he's running for president? He hates gays, he hates women, women's rights. He hates Jews and blacks, people of color, immigrants. In fact, you heard what's happening now in Florida. Their stores are empty because the immigrants refuse to come.
There you go.
So, and he's going to do this hate, hate, hate. And he's going to run for the United States of America president, thinks he's going to win when he's so anti. Trump is anti, but he keeps it a little bit more quiet. He is verbal, proud to be white go-go boot wearer.
He's pandering to the ultra-right Christian nationalists. That's
Exactly.
what,
but they don't run things. They're not in charge of us.
well, that's my whole point.
Yeah.
But it's still that small group of the Satan-like people telling the rest of us what we can and cannot do. And I'm sure that it was people like them that started the trouble with Target.
Yeah, it's just terrible.
But they won't win.
Nobody can represent, you know.
They will not win.
No, they won't win. But in a way, and don't write me with hate mail, but in a way, I could see why they did it. Because again, you can't get any kind of staff. None of our young people want to work at Target. So you don't want them having to fight people. You want to be able to have people come and work and live in peace. So I think they'd set it down temporarily and then it'll go back when.
If I were the CEO of Target, which I'm not, I would have hired a bunch of transgendered people
To what?
to work in the stores.
They might. You don't know that.
And I would have put up a lot of guards, and I would have put up a lot of, sorry, no guns in the store. You want to come in, you got to go through this, you know.
Yeah, and they might even be starting that. You don't know. They may have to go back to phase one. They're going to secure their places more, especially the ones in the red states, and try it again.
They've got those detectors when you walk out that'll go off if you steal something.
Yeah.
I mean, those will go
Do
off
that when you walk
gun.
in and see if you got a gun on you.
Correct. So anyway, that would help.
So Vanessa wants to know, Jim Jordan from Ohio, is he going to jail and losing his election? I think he's one of the ones that's going to get hit.
He's going to get so hard. He's going to wonder what hit him. He's going to feel like he got pulled through a rose bush backwards 30 times by a Mack truck. He's going to get hit hard.
And you know what? They even said they're they're trying to put Biden in a bad light. And they said, just like we did with Hillary Clinton, they think that they stopped Hillary from winning. Of course, they didn't realize so much cheating was going on. But they thought they were able to stop Hillary Clinton. They're not going to stop Biden.
They're not going to stop Biden. Nope. They think they can, but they're not. And I'm sure.
And here's the other thing. They are going to lose terribly.
And I'm sure that Putin's already trying to interfere, but that's not going to work.
Justice will get Jim Jordan.
Yeah. I see Jim Jordan and orange sliders.
And you know what? Somebody just had lunch with Putin, some bigwig in Russia. And when he left, he's near death right now in the hospital. I mean, these people, all they do is kill off. It's a good thing that isn't the same in the United States. But if it was up to Trump, it would be.
He probably got
They
poisoned.
keep killing people.
Well, at least he didn't fall out a first floor window.
Most of them do.
I know.
But Jim Jordan, you guys, he's going down.
He's going down huge.
I think we're going to get news from Jack Smith sooner than later, though.
I'm thinking something's cooking and it's going to come out soon. I was tickled that the judge said Trump had to stand trial, that he couldn't. Well, what about my campaign? Sorry, you got to be in the courtroom.
He doesn't care. Yeah. Oh, he was mad about that.
Oh, wow.
Everybody's picking on him because he should be able to cheat and lie and do everything. And, you know, and apparently, just like Andre said, based on his sign, he had something in something, Uranus and Neptune or something. He was the type that always didn't have to pay the piper. He could get away. You know, he didn't pay people. He threatened to sue people. He was nasty and ugly. And then when he became president and he thought he could just make tons of money off our nation, his daughter, his family, telling them to give them security clearances when the FBI said, sir, these people don't qualify. And he said, I don't care. Giving them security clearance, letting, what's his face? He's going down too, Jared, for giving away that where they,
Oh, yeah. You know, my psychic light bulb just went on.
what?
About talking about people that would threaten stores with violence and stuff like that. I see really strict laws that are going to be passed to prevent domestic terrorism.
I feel, it's funny you said that. Like, even the Congress people and senators are getting death threats all the time. I feel they're really going to put a hammer on that.
They really are. And they're going to be very strict about what defines domestic terrorism or threats thereof. So for anybody who would threaten a store, let's go back to Target, for example, for entertainment purposes only. And the FBI investigates that, then the people making those threats, they're going to hold responsible for threats of domestic terrorism. It's not a law yet, but it will be. And when you were talking, my psychic light bulb, which is boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
I got to get this out.
To help protect these poor people so they have the ability to sell what they want.
That's correct. That's correct. And to protect the people who go into
it's just like we don't go to that burger place. I can't remember it. I refuse to buy from them too. The one that the guy is totally anti-gay and he paid towards Trump.
Oh yeah, I know who it is. I can't.
You know the burger place. I just said the name. It's not In-N-Out. It's another one. Anyway, we may not agree with them, but we're not calling up making terrorist threats.
That's the point. I might not agree with Chick-fil-A's stance
Chick-fil-A.
on anti-gay, but I'm not going to Chick-fil-A anti-gay.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to call them and threaten to blow up their store or to come in and hurt a bunch of people. That's
right.
Just cool. They have the right to have a store. I have the right not to shop there.
Right, exactly. And money talks.
That's correct. And so I see legislation pass that if you make a domestic terrorist threat, like you're going to come in and hurt a bunch of people because you don't like a certain store or their politics, guess what? You're going to end up, people are going to end up getting in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, it's a fine line with the free speech thing, but any kind of threat, it's okay to say, I think, you guys are terrible because you don't believe in this. Yeah. But it's another thing to say, I'm going to get a bomb and blow you guys up or something like that.
Free speech does not give you the right to infringe upon or threaten others. It doesn't.
Like even yelling fire.
That's right. That's not free speech.
No.
So, and I think it'll be defined, it'll go to the Supreme Court even, and they'll say, no, it's going to, I'm telling you, there's going to be this legislation.
And our Gen Z's coming up, our youth is coming in. You're going to see people calm down a little bit.
Stop domestic terrorism. And that's what's going on with these assaults. It's domestic terrorism. And,
yeah.
And they are going to, at some point, ban assault weapons. They really will.
I see that too. Absolutely guaranteed. So unfortunately, we're over an hour, but I wanted to ask you real quick, because you got to go meet your niece. What was it? Who are you going to meet? Your friend or your cousin. What do you think about Thomas? Is there anything coming up with him? Justice Thomas.
I see him off the court.
I did too, but we can't tell time. We're not allowed that, but.
Well, I think he's trying to hold on until after the election. But what I'm thinking, I see him stepping down, but I still see him in trouble. And I see him under investigation. And I think when he steps down from the court, rather than him saying that he was forced to step down, I think he's going to say that he's going to use health issues as the excuse.
Or his wife or something.
His wife.
Because she's freaking out.
But I'm still very nervous about his health.
Okay, me too.
And his wife, she ain't out of the woods either.
Right.
She's going to be in deep doo-doo. But Clarence Thomas really needs to watch his health.
And who isn't hanging around him anymore is that guy that was paying for all his holidays.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because he knew that
he's under a microscope, so he's let Thomas go.
They were going to be dissecting him. That's right.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Well, my friend, I thank you so the hour flew by.
Thank you.
And I'm not counting the time that we chit chatted. It's 11:09 right now.
I needed this today. I need to get my mind off stuff.
There you go. And you have a good day with your cousin. I might break down and make a little shish kebab or something for my son. I just have Jeffrey here. Jacob is going to spend some time with his girlfriend.
Well, sounds good.
So,
Hey,
all
all
right,
right.
you guys. Love
Next
you
week
all.
you're on my channel.
Next week, and then that's our last one before you go to Africa.
Go to Africa.
Oh, I love that movie, Out of Africa.
Oh, isn't that a great movie?
That was such a romance. I used to have such a crush on Robert Redford.
I love that movie. That's an awesome movie.
Yeah, that was such a good, and the music, oh my God.
I'm spraying my clothes. I bought all these safari clothes, but we're only allowed 33 pounds of baggage, including carry-on. So I'm spraying them all with insect repellent to keep the insects.
So how much weight does those diapers cost?
Those are costly. Somebody said I should take a diaper in the jungle because you can't go to the bathroom in the jungle because the gorillas and the chimpanzees have 98% of our DNA. And they are subject to diseases that humans can get, and God forbid.
Oh.
So you can't urinate in the jungle or anything. So somebody suggested wearing a diaper, and then one of the people going said, "I'm not going to walk around with pee in my pants for 3 hours."
Yeah. What do you do? Do they carry portable toilets or
No,
you hold it?
hold it.
And then you got to stay hydrated if it's hot.
Correct.
Oh, but not me. I'll never go to Africa.
Well, I bought a pad. Well, I mean, we're going to be in the jungle hiking to see the gorillas. I mean, there's big cities there. It's not all like that, but I bought a pad that you can pee on, and then you fold it and you zip it up and you put it in a bag.
Okay, there you go.
So
what about taking a crap?
I give you that, you gotta wait. I got my pee pads.
Oh my God, you should see the crap I pick up outside with the dogs on that $7,000 carpet I got out there. That was so funny. I paid all that money for that fake lawn because Lulu's pee was burning the lawn.
Oh yeah,
I put a brand new lawn in, and when she came, all of a sudden I noticed these brown spot, and my gardener said, "Hey, yeah, that's from the dog."
Female urine will burn spots on your lawn. Absolutely.
Oh my gosh! So anyway, I got this, and it's made specially for animals. It's wonderful, actually. It never stinks, and I got worried because it took them 2 days to put it in, and I thought, geez, I hope the dogs don't reject it, and piss and poop all over. And they weren't gone 10 minutes, and both those dogs walked on that thing and both proceeded to take big old craps. Oh, look at this. That's $7,000 carpet.
I'll tell you a funny story. Gary told me this morning he got up early, and we've got a little fenced backyard here, but anyway, in our little townhouse. But he makes a nice little garden, but there were some plants, and typically critters can't get in, but there's a space under the gate about like this. And he said, Lucky took off running toward this little group of plants over here. And she was like, Gary's like, Lucky, come. And she's like, not having it. And so he says, I look, and there was this little baby possum that got under the gate, and it's hissing at her. And Lucky wanted to play with it. I think she must have thought it was another dog or a puppy.
Oh my God.
Just wanted to play with it. Well, possums don't carry rabies, but anyway, this little possum, Gary was like, and so she went and did her business, and she went back to play with it again, and just was standing there, and she was trying to play with it.
Did it play dead?
It just froze. And then she went, because if she's like doing her business and something distracts her, she'll stop.
Yeah.
So anyway, she went to finish doing her business. When she did, the little possum ran under the gate.
Thank God. Thank God.
When she was a puppy, I used to let her outside, and she would start to poop. And if an airplane went over, she's fascinated by airplanes. She would look up, she would stop pooping, and she would just look in the air until the airplane was gone, and then she would resume.
They say animals, dogs, the most vulnerable spot they're in is when they take a crap.
That's true.
That's why they're very picky where they take it, because that's when they're susceptible to attack.
Well, she would stop, and she would just stop and look. And she was fascinated. Even now, if there's an airplane going over, she'll finish pooping, but she'll look up at it. She's fascinated by airplanes.
So that's our lesson number 1. We'll stay tuned for next Monday. We'll talk more about dog crapping.
Lesson number 2, if you're sitting on the toilet and an airplane goes over, don't look up.
Oh my God. All right, you guys, thank you so much for coming. And we love you all. And don't forget prayers from my Mel.
All right.
Cheers.